guys. Welcome to Amy's Jukebox Storytime. I'm just waiting for 6, 7 of my grandchildren to hop in. So they should be coming on now. Soon. Nobody's on yet. I'll drink my tea. Just wait for them to hop on. Usually takes about 5 minutes. I just message both moms, my daughter and my daughter-in-law. Of course, Sheila looking lovely as usual. She got her new hair. It's a little more permanent. It doesn't flap out. I'm writing a book. It's called Cass and Mono Chronicles. It's pretty good. I think I might be a book writer. Definitely a book writer. Just waiting. Well, anyway, I got these books at the Dollar Tree yesterday. Oh, it was a wonderful Dollar Tree. And all right, if that's either Sierra, Kyle, or Brianna or Jake, can you just shoot me a message so I know that you're on, so I know that it's you? Could be Carol, could be Wayne. Trying to get used to. It's a little dark. I feel like it's a little dark. Camera's on that side. 2 people on. Hopefully it's the Christmas. The grandchildren. I don't think I got any messages yet. Nope, nothing yet. No, nothing yet. Okay. So that's Jacob. So Delilah, Daisy, and Denver are on. Let's see if Amethyst, Silas, Kai, and Dawn. What is Dawn? What is Sierra's boys' names?
JJ and Damien?
Yes, JJ and Damien. I'm so sorry. Can't remember my name sometimes. All right. So we're just waiting. But the books I got today is, I'll start reading. Hopefully they hop on. I got Sid the Science Kid. Everybody move your feet. I don't know how to make it on backwards. I'm still working on that. Classic Tale of Peter Rabbit. And Ingenious Gene. Let's do this one first. This one looks really good. At least the pictures are, it's okay if the pictures are backwards. Oh, I'm hoping the other kids are on. All right, Ingenious Gene, written by Susan Chandler, illustrated by Katie Leak. I can't begin to tell you just how ingenious Gene was, or maybe I can. Maybe I can tell you that while her brother and sister were watching. Oh, the kids are... Okay, Kyle. All right. They can watch it after that. I think this is my 5th episode. Maybe I can tell you that while her brother and sister were watching cartoons, she was inventing something amazing. Ingenious Jean was searching in her toy box to find some good things to invent with. She was hammering and banging, drawing and planning, scheming and dreaming until her invention was ready. She took it in to show her brother and sister. Look what I've invented, said Ingenious Jean. What is it? Asked her brother. It's a contraption that lets one person talk to another, even when they are in different houses. They all thought for a moment. Well, that sounds ingenious, her brother said, picking up the phone to call his friend. But I'm sure it's been done before. That doesn't matter, said Ingenious Jean, because I have another inventing idea. And with that, she went back into her room to find some good things to invent with. This time, Ingenious Jean delved deep into the closet. While her brother and sister were dressing up, Ingenious Jean was inventing something stupendous. She was hammering and banging, drawing and planning, scheming and dreaming until at long last the invention was ready. She took it in to show her brother and sister. Sheila likes this book. Look what I've invented, said ingenious Jean. Once again, what is it? Asked her sister. Through the dress she was pulling over her head. It was a special box that lets you watch moving pictures with sound. Look what happens when I switch it on. They all thought for a moment. It does sound ingenious, said her sister, turning on the telly, but I'm sure it's been done before. That doesn't matter, laughed ingenious Jean, because I have another inventing idea. And with that, she went back into her room to find some good things to invent with. This time, ingenious Jean rummaged far under the bed while her brother and sister were playing in the sandbox. Ingenious Jean was inventing something incredible. She was hammering and banging, drawing and planning, scheming and dreaming, building and making, until at long last the invention was ready. She took it out to show her brother and sister. Look what I've invented, said ingenious Jean, feeling very tired. What is it? Asked her brother with a bucket on his head. It's a vehicle that will carry people off into the sky, land in a hot country, and then bring them back again after a lovely holiday. They all thought for a moment. That does sound ingenious, yawned her brother as he watched a plane leave a trail in the sky, but I'm sure it's been done before. By now, she had run out of inventing ideas. There was no point in going back into her room to find some good things to invent with. There was no point in hammering and banging, drawing and planning, scheming and dreaming, building and making. So ingenious Jean decided to forget about inventing marvelous things and wandering into the kitchen to find something to eat. The bowl had become so full with delicious mixture that it started to spill over the top and down the sides. But ingenious Jean carefully carried it out to show her brother and sister. Look what I've made, said ingenious Jean. Her sister dipped her spade into the bowl and tried some of the mixture. Her brother scooped his bucket into the bowl and tried some of the mixture. It's never been done before, announced her sister. This is the tastiest dessert ever, exclaimed her brother. They both thought for a moment. Ingenious Jean, they said at once. What a marvelous invention. The end, but it said, for Grayson SC, for my baby cousin Leon, who loves his bedtime stories, KL. So good. They will do The Tale of Peter Rabbit, based on the original art and story by Beatrix Potter. Oh, I like this paper. Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank underneath the root of a very big fir tree. Now, my dear, said old Mrs. Rabbit one morning, you may go into the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there. He was put in a pie by Mr. McGregor. Pie. Rabbit pie. Now run along and don't get into mischief. I am going out. Then old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella and went through the woods to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. First he ate some lettuces and some French beans, and then he ate some radishes. And then, feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. But round the end of a cucumber frame, whom should he meet but Mr. McGregor? Mr. McGregor was on his hands and knees planting out young cabbages. But he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and calling out, "Stop, thief!" Peter was most dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. He lost one of his shoes among the cabbages and the other shoe among the potatoes. After losing them, he ran on 4 legs and went faster, so that I think he might have gotten away altogether if he had not unfortunately run into a gooseberry net and got caught by the large buttons on his jacket. It was a blue jacket with brass buttons, quite new. Peter gave himself up for lost and shed big tears, but his sobs were overheard by some friendly sparrows who flew to him in great excitement and implored him to exert himself. Mr. McGregor came up with a sieve, which he intended to pop upon the top of Peter, but Peter wriggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind, and rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in if it had not had so much water in it. Mr. McGregor was quite sure that Peter was somewhere in the tool shed, perhaps hidden underneath a flower pot. He began to turn them over carefully, looking under each. Presently, Peter sneezed. Curdy Shoo, Mr. McGregor was after him in no time and tried to put his foot upon Peter, who jumped out of a window, upsetting 3 plants. The window was too small for Mr. McGregor, and he was tired of running after Peter. He went back to his work. Peter sat down to rest. He was out of breath and trembling with fright, and he had not the least idea which way to go. Also, he was very damp from sitting in that can. After a time, he began to wander about, going lippity-lippity, not very fast, and looking all around. He found a door in the wall, but it was locked, and there was no room for a fat little rabbit to squeeze underneath. An old mouse was running in and out over the stone doorstep, carrying peas and beans to her family in the woods. Peter asked her the way to the gate, but she had such a large pea in her mouth that she could not answer. She only shook her head at him. Peter began to cry. Then he tried to find his way straight across the garden, but he became more and more puzzled. Presently, he came to a pond where Mr. McGregor filled his watering cans. A white cat was staring at some goldfish. She sat very, very still, but now and then the tip of her tail twitched as if it were alive. Peter thought it best to go away without speaking to her. He had heard about cats from his cousin, little Benjamin Bunny. He went back towards the tool shed, but suddenly, quite close to him, he heard the noise of a hoe. Scritch, scratch, scratch, scritch. Peter scuttered underneath the bushes, but presently, as nothing happened, he came out and climbed upon a wheelbarrow and peeped over. The first thing he saw was Mr. McGregor hoeing onions. His back was turned towards Peter, and beyond him was the gate. Peter got down very quietly off the wheelbarrow and started running as fast as he could go along a straight walk behind some blackcurrant bushes. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner, but Peter did not care. He slipped underneath the gate and was safe at last in the woods outside the garden. Mr. McGregor hung up the little jacket and the shoes for a scarecrow to frighten the blackbirds. Peter never stopped running or looked behind him till he got home to the big fir tree. He was so tired that he flopped down upon the nice soft sand on the floor of the rabbit hole and shut his eyes. His mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had done with his clothes. It was the second little jacket and pair of shoes that Peter had lost in a fortnight. I am sorry to say that Peter was not very well during the evening. His mother put him to bed and made some chamomile tea, and she gave a dose of it to Peter, 1 tablespoon to be taken at bedtime. But Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberry for supper. The end. One more. Sid the Science Kid. Everybody move your feet. By Jody Hewlin. Good morning, Sid. Sid had exciting news to share. I'm going to make a pillow fort and do nothing but watch my favorite TV show, Fire Dog Brigade, all weekend long. I'll sit in front of the TV all day and night. Isn't it a brilliant idea? Well, Mom and Dad probably won't love this. Just watch TV plan. But why? I've got to know, what's the big deal with TV? Why can't I watch it all weekend? Sid, breakfast time. Breakfast time. TV, 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 Sid yells, running into the kitchen. Good morning, Sid, Mom says. Sid greets his family. Hey, Zeke. And Mom, hi, Dad. Sid tells his family his super brilliant plan for the weekend. I have the best idea in the world. I'm going to bring a TV into my room, sit on my bed, and watch Fire Dog Brigade all weekend long. Sid is all smiles and excitement as he awaits their response. All weekend long? Sid, you cannot watch TV all weekend long, Mom answers. All that TV wouldn't be good for you, Dad says. Your body would get really tired. Excuse me? Maybe Mom and Dad didn't hear Sid. How could he get tired? Sid wouldn't be moving, he'd be watching. Because your body needs to move, Dad answers. You need to exercise your muscles like, no way. This, Dad says, striking a pose and doing deep knee bends. Sid's mom agrees. If you didn't move at all and just watch TV, your body would turn to mush, she says. Feels good. I love exercising. Sid doesn't quite understand. I know. I'll investigate at school. Maybe my friends can help me figure this out. Sid jumps out of the car, excited to see his friends. Gabriella, Gerald, and May are waiting for him on the playground. Sid asks the question of the day. Do you know anyone who exercises? I'm roving. Reporter Sid with today's survey. I do. My dad and my dog Chester exercise together, answers Gerald. They run around this big field, but my dog's a lot faster than my dad. May knows someone who likes to exercise too. My Aunt Karen does Tai Chi, May says, doing a cool Tai Chi move. Sid asks Gabriella next. My brother plays soccer and I play with him, she says. Maybe Teacher Susie can help Sid and his friends learn more. Come on in, we've got a lot to learn today. Teacher Susie sings. The kids take their seats. Who has something they want to talk about, Teacher Susie asks. On the playground, we talked about exercise. Gabriella responds. Sid explains how he wants to watch Fire Dog Brigade all weekend, except my mom and dad say it's not good for my body. To stay healthy and strong, you have to exercise your whole body, Teacher Susie says. Even your feet, asks Gabriella. And your arms, asked Gerald. Yes, exercise is even good for your brain. It helps you think better, Teacher Susie explains. It's time for an investigative exercise with a special outside superfab lab on the playground. Grab your journals and let's go, Teacher Susie says. Teacher Susie describes the right and wrong ways to exercise. There are many ways to exercise your body, she says. The important thing is to just move your body and have fun. Wow, you'll know you're moving around enough when you can feel your heart beating fast, Teacher Susie continues. Sid and his friends put their hands over their hearts. They can't feel anything. That's because right now their hearts are beating slowly, but after some exercise, they will try again. Sid leads the group in some stretching and warming up. Then everyone shows a favorite way to move. Gabriella kicks a soccer ball. Sid does a robot dance with a robot voice. I like pretending to be a robot making pancakes. May pretends to garden with her grandpa, planting and weeding and watering. Gerald tap dances and sings. Hey, that's exercising his lungs too. It's your turn. What's your favorite way to move your body? You're all exercising and building strong muscles. Teacher Susie says encouragingly, everyone put your hands over your hearts and observe if it's beating the same or faster than before. May says her heart is beating really fast, and Gerald and Gabriella agree that they are breathing really fast. You're a scientist. You can try this too, says Sid. Sid and his friends grab their journals. It's time to draw some observations. Gerald draws a picture of himself dancing. I'm drawing myself working in my grandpa's garden. May offers. Picking up every single weed is hard work, but it's fun. Gabriella draws a picture of herself playing soccer. Sid draws himself as a robot. his heart beating fast and really hard. Boom, 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 Sid says. Sid can't believe the school day is over already. There's Grandma to pick him up. Hey, Grandma, we learned about exercise today. Sid had no idea playing, dancing, and using his body was so important for staying healthy. Staying healthy is fun. Sid can't wait to tell his family all about his new brilliant idea. Scientists in the house, we learned how exercise is good for our bodies in school today, Sid says. It gives us energy and helps our hearts and arms and even our brains. But what is Sid's great idea? His parents and Grandma wonder. Instead of watching Fire Dog Brigade, our whole family can act out. Fire Dog Brigade, hooray! All right, that's it for Amy's Jukebox Story Time. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.